Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Ahoy listeners, welcome aboard the History AI podcast. I'm Chuck, here with the ever-curious Marco. Today, we're setting sail into the mysterious waters of the Indian Ocean, and uncovering the legendary treasure of pirate Olivier Levasseur, better known as La Buse.
Buzzard indeed, he was notorious for swooping on ships with deadly precision. You won't want to miss this tale of riches, riddles, and murder at the scaffold.
But before we weigh anchor, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. It helps more curious minds discover these timeless tales, and it's the best way to support the show.
Seriously, your reviews keep our sails full. Now, hoist the black flag and let's chase some buried treasure.
To understand Olivier Levasseur, also known as La Buse, we need to start in Calais, France, sometime around 1688 to 1690. Born into a well-to-do family, Levasseur wasn't some scrappy dock rat. He was educated, literate, and possibly trained as a naval officer or engineer.
Right, and that made him different from many pirates who came from poor or rough beginnings. He entered the maritime world not as a criminal, but as a privateer, basically a pirate with a permission slip from the French crown. During the War of the Spanish Succession, Levasseur was legally allowed to attack enemy ships and split the spoils with his government backers.
It was a lucrative gig, until the war ended in 1714. When peace broke out, many privateers were suddenly unemployed. And for someone like Levasseur, with taste for adventure and profit, going legit was not appealing.
So what did he do? He went rogue. He sailed to the Caribbean, where Nassau was becoming a hotbed for pirate crews and outlaws. There, he rubbed shoulders with infamous names like Benjamin Hornigold and Samuel Bellamy, aka Black Sam. Levasseur learned the ropes of real piracy: no rules, no flags, just plunder.
He wasn't just tagging along, either. Levasseur quickly proved himself a fierce tactician and brutal raider. His nickname, La Buse or the Buzzard, came from his tendency to attack swiftly and without mercy, just like the scavenger bird he was named after.
And it fit. He was bold, fast, and relentless. But Levasseur wasn't content to play second fiddle to others. By 1716, he was ready to strike out on his own, and the Indian Ocean would soon be his personal hunting ground.
From the calm Caribbean to the trade-rich coasts of Africa and India, Levasseur was about to make his mark in piracy's most lucrative theater.
And what he did next would go down in pirate history as one of the greatest heists of all time. So, once Levasseur reached the Indian Ocean, he wasn't just running wild, he was building something close to a pirate empire. His territory stretched from the east coast of Africa to the trading hubs of the Indian subcontinent. This region was rich with opportunity. European merchant ships stuffed with spices, gold, silk, and gems regularly passed through, often with minimal naval protection.
By 1720, La Buse had teamed up with another notorious pirate, John Taylor, a former British naval officer turned outlaw. These two were a dangerous combo, skilled, ruthless, and incredibly ambitious. They operated off Madagascar and used nearby islands like Isle Sainte Marie as pirate strongholds.
Their most legendary moment came in April 1721, off the coast of Réunion Island. A massive Portuguese galleon named the Nossa Senhora do Cabo, Our Lady of the Cape, ran aground due to a storm. The ship was absolutely loaded. This wasn't just a cargo run, it was transporting the Archbishop of Goa, Portuguese nobleman, and vast quantities of treasure meant for the King of Portugal.
And by treasure, we're not talking pocket change. According to multiple accounts, the galleon was carrying gold bars, silver ingots, diamonds, pearls, silks, spices, and even religious artifacts, including a giant solid gold crucifix encrusted with jewels that reportedly weighed over 100 kilograms.
Levasseur and Taylor didn't hesitate. They launched a swift and brutal raid, overwhelming the crew and passengers. When the smoke cleared, the pirates made off with what's often described as one of the richest hauls in pirate history, possibly worth over $1 billion in today's money.
Let that sink in. $1 billion. And there were no banks, no armored trucks, no vaults, just the sea, the ship, and a gang of pirates carving up the loot like it was a pot roast.
After splitting the treasure, the partnership began to dissolve. John Taylor reportedly sailed off toward the West Indies, while Levasseur slipped into the shadows, taking a substantial portion of the fortune with him.
This is the point where Levasseur starts to become a ghost. He vanishes from the big raids, allegedly hiding much of his treasure across islands like Réunion, Mahé in the Seychelles, and Madagascar.
And it's this vanishing act, combined with his cryptic last words, that turns his legend from a notorious pirate to mythical treasure bearer. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So here's where the story takes a turn from swashbuckling to straight-up mystery novel. After years of dodging navies and hiding loot, Levasseur was finally captured by French authorities. It's 1730, and he's being held on the island of Réunion, awaiting execution.
Now, you'd think that's the end of the tale, right? But no, Levasseur knew how to go out with flair. On July 7, 1730, as he was being led to the gallows, legend says he flung a medallion or a coded parchment into the crowd. With it, he shouted something along the lines of, "Find my treasure, ye who may understand it."
Cue the Da Vinci Code music, because what followed would spawn one of the most enduring treasure hunts in history. The medallion, or maybe it was a letter, stories vary, was engraved with a 17-line cryptogram. The symbols were bizarre: crosses, alchemical signs, and runes. Definitely not your typical pirate X marks the spot.
For over a century, the document was dismissed as nonsense. But in the 1930s, a French historian named Charles de la Roncière took a crack at it. He published a book claiming to decode the cipher, only to reveal what appeared to be a recipe involving pigeon hearts and herbal powders.
Yep. After all that, it might have just been 18th century spam mail.
But not everyone was convinced it was a joke. In the 1940s, a British man named Reginald Cruise-Wilkins became obsessed with the idea that the cryptogram was authentic. He believed it was layered with Masonic symbolism, astrological references, and even allusions to the 12 labors of Hercules.
Cruise-Wilkins spent over 20 years digging on Mahé Island in the Seychelles. He found hidden tunnels, booby traps, false walls, and objects like coins, old pistols, and tools. But not the treasure. He died in the 1970s, leaving the quest to his son, John, who carried the torch for decades.
And the legend keeps drawing people in. There are treasure hunters today, engineers, cryptographers, even archaeologists, still trying to crack the code. Some believe the real key lies in combining Masonic knowledge with ancient Hebrew and numerology. Others think the entire thing was a red herring, a way for Levasseur to mislead the authorities.
There have even been legal battles over whether the French government should allow excavation on protected sites in Réunion and Seychelles. The idea of a pirate fortune, worth hundreds of millions, just sitting in a cave somewhere, has proven too tempting to ignore.
And here's the kicker: no one has ever found definitive proof the treasure exists. But then again, no one has proven it doesn't. And that, dear listeners, is how legends survive.
By the time Olivier Levasseur's neck snapped at the gallows in 1730, he had already transcended simple piracy. He'd become something more, a symbol, a riddle, a ghost on the edges of maritime history.
And what makes him so compelling is the duality. On one hand, he was a ruthless raider, responsible for capturing dozens of ships, sometimes torturing captains, and leaving destruction in his wake. On the other, he was methodical, educated, strategic. He operated with an almost secret society-like code, and maybe, just maybe, left behind one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time.
His reputation spread across the seas. And part of that comes from the iconography. His pirate flags were terrifying: skulls, hourglasses, bleeding hearts, symbols meant to paralyze crews with fear before a single shot was fired. There's even speculation he had different flags for different occasions, like a warlord dressing for battle.
But the myth really exploded in the 20th century, when newspapers, books, and even early documentaries latched onto the idea of the Buse's hidden treasure. The cryptogram, the Freemason links, the mystery of May Island, it was too juicy to resist.
Pop culture picked up on it. He's featured in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, referenced in One Piece as a model for characters obsessed with leaving behind legacy treasure, and he's even been studied in real-world cryptography circles as a case study in long-form puzzles.
And unlike some pirate legends that fade with time, Levasseur's legend has evolved. In recent years, modern treasure hunters have used ground-penetrating radar, lidar scanning, and satellite imaging to scour island coastlines for unnatural formations, tunnels, collapsed caverns, anything that could point to a hidden vault.
One 2023 theory suggested the treasure might be buried beneath a prehistoric megalithic site in Réunion, protected under French law. But no one's been allowed to dig. Others think it's long gone, stolen, washed away, or never existed at all.
And yet, something keeps the hunt alive. Maybe it's the romanticism of it all, a lone pirate outsmarting kings, governments, and time itself. Or maybe, just maybe, someone out there holds the real key to cracking Levasseur's final puzzle.
Whether he was a criminal mastermind or just a pirate with a flair for drama, Olivier Levasseur continues to inspire curiosity nearly 300 years later.
And for a man who shouted "Find my treasure, ye who may understand it," as he died, maybe that's exactly what he wanted. So Chuck, if there's one thing we've learned about Olivier Levasseur, it's that he was more than just a pirate, he was a myth maker.
Exactly. He lived fast, stole big, and died dramatically. And whether he left behind a billion-dollar treasure or a decoy recipe for pigeon stew, the legend of La Buse is still echoing through history.
It's the perfect story: treasure maps, secret codes, daring raids, and an unsolved mystery. It's no wonder people are still hunting for his loot in jungles, caves, and digital archives.
And honestly, even if the treasure's never found, Levasseur succeeded. He left behind something far more valuable than gold. He left behind a legend. Thanks for joining us on this dive into the life, legacy, and lingering mystery of Olivier Levasseur. If you enjoyed this episode, do us a huge favor, hit subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform.
It really helps more curious minds find the show, and it tells the algorithm gods that we're worth our weight in Spanish doubloons.
Every review powers us to bring you more evergreen history, stories that never age, no matter when you hit play.
And if you've got a historical figure, mystery, or unsolved code you want us to explore, send us a message on Instagram or Twitter. We read every single one.
Also, check out the brand new History AI podcast merch, pirate flags not included, but the mugs and tees are pretty legendary. Links in the show notes.
Today's episode was powered by AI, bringing history to life with precision, personality, and just the right amount of pirate sass.
Until next time, fair winds and curious minds.
Born to blood and Breton skies, when noble names wore thin disguise, he traded books for blade and gun and chased the storm beneath the sun. From Saint Malo to Spanish gold, he carved a tale so dark and bold. Black flag whispered in the breeze, a buzzard soaring o'er the seas. Raise your glass to Levasseur, the buzzard bold, the treasure's lure. He left a code no soul could read, a map of death, a pirate's creed. He laughed at kings, he danced with doom, and took his secrets to the tomb. They say his curse still rides the tide, where Levasseur as gold may hide. Plundered ships with stealth and speed, with England's foes he made them bleed. A crimson sash, a gleaming blade, he ruled the waves, no price unpaid. The Portuguese, the French, the crown, he burned their flags and brought them down. But one great prize still haunts the tales, the ghostly loot of Indian sails. Raise your glass to Levasseur, the buzzard bold, the treasure's lure. He left a code no soul could read, a map of death, a pirate's creed. He laughed at kings, he danced with doom, and took his secrets to the tomb. They say his curse still rides the tide, where Levasseur's gold may hide.
flung a cipher through the glare. Find my gold if you dare, he roared. A silence fell like a drawn sword. A riddle lost, a legend born in hidden caves, an ocean storm. Still dreamers search with hearts possessed by Buzzard's gold and devil's jest. So raise your glass to La Buse's ghost, the pirate feared and hated most. He left behind a cursed delight, a puzzle veiled in moonless night. He laughed at death, he mocked the crown, and now the sea won't lay him down. For Olivier still sails the tide, where shadows and treasure hide.